Lassiter Factor.
All my movie loving maniacs, this is your boy Bangful B of the Lassiter Factor, and I am back with my monthly deep dive of the Toy Story franchise. Now, I would watch Toy Story 4 next, but before I get to that, I wanted to go back and rewatch all the Toy Story shorts and specials, because after rewatching Buzz Lightyear Star Command, I thought, you know what, let's keep this train going and go further than the movies. And so I decided, you know what, I remember seeing some of these shorts. One of them I watched for the first time, so let me deep dive into some of these real quick before I go back and rewatch Toy Story 4. And I'm going to have my review of that up relatively soon or so. But for right now, let's talk about the Toy Story shorts and specials. And I'm not going to talk too deep into it. It's just a little rapid fire each short, my initial thoughts on some of them. So let's get into it. First one is called Hawaii Vacation, which I do remember played in front of Cars 2 in the theater back in the day. Now, you're probably wondering, what am I doing watching Cars 2 when it first came out? Hey, I had two younger sisters who were at the time the right age for Cars 2. So, hey, this was definitely better than Cars 2 in my opinion. But anyways, I thought the premise of Barbie and Ken revisiting the rest of the gang at Bonnie's house and thinking that they're about to go on a Hawaii vacation with Bonnie, but it turns out they got left at home, and so now Woody, Buzz, and the rest of the toys are doing their best to try to make this vacation work for them, because Ken was really hoping for it to work because he's just trying to get that first kiss with Barbie, which I thought was cute, and then it ended up with them outside in the snow, and then they got to dethaw them. It was a cute little short, and at the time I did think it was kind of cool to catch up on these characters post Toy Story 3, so I'm going to give Hawaii Vacation the hard eyes emoji. Next is Small Fry, which I do remember played in front of the Muppets movie from 2011. But while I do like Hawaii Vacation more, I do like this one mainly because it spoke to me as someone that used to love collecting and playing with Happy Meal toys back in the day. And you know, you got a small version of Buzz Lightyear, a Happy Meal version of him at that, and he basically went through the same arc that Buzz went through in the first movie, in which he thinks he's a real toy and he just wants to get played with. And then there's this self-help group for toys up in the vents in which they're either abandoned or toys that never got played with. And then Woody is just trying to figure out what the hell happened. But my favorite part is doing the end credits, in which we see these parodies of food items from fast food restaurants. Not my favorite. I did think it was kind of cute for all the Happy Meal stuff and how it was a parody of fast food restaurants and stuff. So I'm gonna give Small Fry the mid hard eyes emoji. Is Partysaurus Rex, which I do remember played in front of the 2012 re-release of Finding Nemo. Though I didn't go to that re-release, I just remember Jeremy Johns, who is a movie reviewer on YouTube. He went to the re-release of Finding Nemo and he said this played in front of that, so hey, pretty cool. But overall, this is probably my least favorite of those first three shorts, and it is cute, and fuck Mr. Potato Head, he keeps making fun of Rex, and so that's why Rex, he's just going on this little mission to try to prove that he's not a party pooper or poopy-saurus Rex, whatever he calls with all the dubstep in this movie is definitely a reminder that this came out during the early 2010s. But overall, it's a fun little short for kids, but definitely not my favorite among the three. Fun to watch, so I'm gonna give Partysaurus Rex the thumbs up emoji. Now we get into the two specials that were released on ABC back in the 2010s, starting with Toy Story of Terror, which is actually not just my favorite among the two, but just my favorite among these Toy Story shorts, mainly because it develops one of the characters, Jessie, in which she still has PTSD from being locked away in boxes for a long time, as she said in Toy Story 2. And so this movie basically follows up on that, and she conquers her fear and PTSD with the help of Combat Carl, played by the late Carl Weathers, which is on brand for him and genius casting in my opinion, since Combat Carl is essentially a parody of the G.I. Joe dolls, and we heard about Combat Carl going back to the first film, so it's nice to finally see them follow up on. A nice little Halloween themed short that was perfect for the Halloween season. I'm gonna give Toy Story of Terror the hard eyes emoji. Finally, Toy Story That Time Forgot, which was actually my first time watching this. I don't know why I'd never watched this, but I actually like this, despite the fact that I do think it basically was a rehash of Buzz's arc in the first movie, in which you have these little mega dinosaur action figures that never got played with, so they've just been in the playroom thinking that they're not toys until one of them, the main one, he finally sees that he came out of a box and he sees that he is a toy, and they do see the value in being played with. And we also see that through Trixie, the other dinosaur toy among Rex, in which she wants to be played with for more. She actually wants to be played with as a dinosaur, but she just continue to be played with as something else. But then she learns at the very end that like it doesn't matter how you're played with, it just matters that you're here for your child. And I like that little arc for Trix. Note, it's also pretty cool to see that with each short, you can tell that Pixar, they're just getting better and better with the animation within the Toy Story franchise. And even watching Toy Story 4 when it first came out, you can definitely tell the difference between Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 in terms of its animation. And I just like seeing the progression of that through these little shorts. Give Toy Story that time forgot a low hard eyes emoji. And it's only low because I did have fun and I did think that it was a good little story, but when it's all said and done, it's basically a rehash of Buzz's arc in the first movie. So that's my take on some of the Toy Story shorts that were released between Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. Have you seen any of these? If so, what is your favorite among them? Let me know in the comment section below. This your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.